guys, welcome back. So this is the last video journal that I'm going to be uploading to my YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about a documentary that we were assigned to watch, which is called Requiem for the American Dream by Noam Chomsky. And also I'm going to talk about the course in general, my appreciations about the course, about the contents. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's it, and let's get on with the video. Okay, so first I want to talk about the documentary. In it, Noam mentioned 10 principles regarding the concentration of wealth and power. I'm not going to go on detail with the 10 principles, but I want to give you an overall view of what he said. Basically, that big corporations are involved in everything. There's a direct connection and relation between political parties, right? Between politics and these big international corporations. A vicious cycle is created between these two. We have that political parties are being benefited and receive profit from these big corporations that fund them, right? And when these political parties that are elected and when they start creating laws, they start legislating, they create them in order to benefit or pay the favor that these big corporations did to the political parties, right? So it's a cycle that connects them both, and at the end of the day they both increase their wealth and their power, right? And what happens to people? We are like that. I consider us as pawns in this chess game, if you could think about it. We're just figures that are being controlled by these masters of mankind that are these big corporations and financial institutions, right? So, I mean, we cannot do anything. We're just like pieces in the chess game. We are controlled by them. We don't fight for what's right. I mean, some people do, and that's what we should do. But what happens with like 80% of the population? Why don't they fight for what it's right? Why don't we gather as a society and overthrow these big corporations that are only trying to increase their wealth and delete somehow democracy? They like the inequality gap that exists between both rich people and poor people. So we have to understand how important education here is, because without education, without letting people know what's happening, how can we do something about it? How can we change people's social cognition about the involvement of these big corporations? Why do you think that people don't ask themselves, why are the richest people in the world increasing their wealth and we're just stuck there? We get the leftovers of them, right? Why don't people ask that? Why do we just stay there like submissive human beings? It's because we haven't been educated to criticize these things. And that's why I have to say that this course was a big influencer on my political views. And not only the course in general, but also Daniel and my classmates and their opinions. They all have had a huge impact on how I feel about society and on how I feel about the difference between rich people and poor people. Why don't we have, the right to education? Why do I have to pay my higher education if it's supposed to be a right? Why don't we ask ourselves what's happening with the taxes? Why do we have to pay higher taxes than those who have much more money? Right? What happens with that? The open secret here is that these big corporations are in control of everything. They know how to handle things. They know how to manipulate us through media, through political campaigns, everything. Once they get involved in the system, it's really difficult to escape from it. And that's why I think we should gather as a whole community and start fighting and start educating your neighbor, your classmate about these issues. Another very important thing is what happens with individualism. We all have become individualist persons. We only care about ourselves. We don't care about others. What about the education of my neighbor? We don't care about that. They have plugged this wire, like invisible wire, into our brains, and they send the signal that you should only care about yourself and only care about consuming, because that is another distractor involved in this problem, right? Consumerism is what keeps us distracted from seeing the whole truth. Now, well, I really enjoyed this documentary. And now about the course in general, well, I said something previously. I enjoyed, like, tremendously this course. Danielle as teacher was awesome. My classmates were incredible. The content and the topics that we discussed in class were, for me, were out of nowhere. I knew we had to talk about politics and stuff, but I didn't know how powerful the contents were going to be. So I learned a lot about ideologies and how people see those ideologies and how our cognition has been shaped by the masters of mankind. I could go on and on about how I loved the course, but yeah, that's my last video journal. I hope that you enjoyed and learned something, because I did. I learned a lot. Thank you for watching, and bye!